My name is Emma, and this is my story. A story of love, mistakes, and hope. Growing up, I was a quiet and shy child. I wasn't naturally reserved. I became that way because of how I was raised. My parents were extremely strict, enforcing rules that felt suffocating. There was no playing outside, no making friends, no pursuing hobbies. My life was limited to the walls of our home. I remember watching other kids play from the window, wishing I could join them. But whenever I asked, my parents would firmly say, "Stay inside." I didn't even go to kindergarten, which only added to my fears of the world outside. When I started school, I was overwhelmed. I didn't know how to talk to the other kids. Every day, I asked myself, how will I fit in? Over time, I made a few friends, but I still stayed quiet, afraid to draw too much attention to myself. I kept repeating to myself, be quiet, be safe, asterisk. As a child, I discovered a love for art. I adored drawing and dreamed of joining art classes. I also wanted to try sports, imagining the joy of running and being part of a team. But every time I expressed these wishes, my parents dismissed them. Focus on your studies, they said. Art is a waste of time. Their disapproval crushed me, but I obeyed because I wanted to make them proud. After high school, I enrolled in college, ready to carve out a better future for myself. That's when I met Ryan. He was tall, funny, and full of life. His confidence was captivating, and his words made me feel special in a way I never had before. He would tell me, "You're so beautiful," and we'd spend hours talking about everything and nothing. Before I knew it, I was falling in love. At just 18, I believed Ryan was my forever. He asked me to marry him, saying, "Why do you need a degree? Marry me, and we'll start a family together." Blinded by love and naivety, I gave up my education and my dreams, convinced that love was all I needed. In the beginning, it felt like I'd made the right choice. We were happy, and soon we welcomed our daughter, Lily. She was the light of my life, tiny, sweet, and perfect in every way. But as time went on, Ryan began to change. He became controlling, criticizing my choices and appearance. He would say things like, "You can't wear those clothes," or "Your tattoos and short hair don't suit you. Change your style." I tried to defend myself, but his words always won. Slowly, I stopped meeting my friends because he insisted, "You don't need them. Stay home with Lily." Ryan started coming home late, claiming he was out with friends. I felt lonely and disconnected, but whenever I tried to talk to him, he brushed me off. One night, he lost his temper and shouted at me, calling me a bad wife. I cried, not recognizing the man I thought I knew. The worst moment came when he hit me. I was in shock, unable to believe the man I loved could hurt me like that. Desperate and broken, I turned to my parents for help. But instead of offering support, they said, "You're married now. Stay with your husband." Their words felt like a betrayal. With no one to turn to, I went back to Ryan, telling myself things would get better. Not long after, I got pregnant again. This time, we had a son, Jake. He was beautiful and looked just like me. I poured all my love into him, but Ryan's behavior didn't improve. In fact, it worsened. He didn't even come to the hospital when Jake was born. When I returned home, exhausted and emotional, he coldly asked, "Why are you back so soon?" As time went on, Ryan's infidelity became obvious. He didn't bother hiding his girlfriend, and he even told me, "She loves me more than you do." His words shattered me. I felt small, unimportant, and utterly helpless. I wanted to leave him, but I had no money and two young children who depended on me. Eventually, Ryan joined the army. He left me to manage everything on my own, saying, "You'll be fine." During this time, my father passed away and my mother moved to another country. I was completely alone. Ryan occasionally called, but one day he told me, "I found someone new. She makes me happier than you ever did." Hearing those words felt like a knife to my heart. 3 months later, Ryan called again, asking for another chance. "I made a mistake," he said. "Please take me back." Despite all the pain he had caused, a part of me still loved him. I agreed, hoping we could rebuild what we had lost. But nothing changed. Ryan's words continued to cut me, leaving scars deeper than any physical wound. This is my story, a journey of love, sacrifice, and the struggle to find hope amidst heartache. We've been married for 16 years now. Ryan has tried to be better over the years, but his words still cut deep. They hurt me in ways I can't always describe, leaving scars I carry in silence. Often, I find myself questioning my choices, wondering why I forgave him so many times and why I stayed. At 33, I'm not the same person I used to be. I've grown stronger in some ways, but deep down, I feel an unshakable exhaustion. Some days, I feel like I'm fading, as if I don't even exist. I long for something better, for a life filled with happiness and peace. I dream of a brighter future for myself and my children, one where they can grow up in a home full of love and joy. Every morning, I wake up early, and the first thing I do is look at my children. They are my reason to keep going, my source of strength. Lily, my daughter, is 8 years old now. She has a beautiful imagination and loves to draw and sing. Sometimes, I watch her and marvel at her innocence, wishing I could give her the carefree childhood she deserves. Jake, my 4-year-old son, is full of energy and laughter. He spends hours playing with his toy cars, his laughter filling the house like sunshine on a cloudy day. I remind myself every morning, be strong for them. I start the day with the usual routine, making breakfast, packing Lily's lunch, and preparing for the day ahead. Jake stays home with me while Lily goes to school. But there are days when the weight of it all feels unbearable. The loneliness, the sadness, the fatigue, it all crashes over me. I look in the mirror and wonder how my life became this way. One afternoon, there was a knock at my door. My neighbor, Sarah, stood there with a warm smile. "Hi, Emma," she said. "Do you want to come over for tea?" I hesitated. I wanted to say no, terrified Ryan would be angry if he found out. But I also realized how desperately I needed someone to talk to. So I went. Sitting in Sarah's cozy kitchen, I finally opened up. I shared pieces of my life I'd never spoken aloud. Sarah listened, her kind eyes never leaving mine, and when I finished, she said, "You are not alone. I'm here for you." Her words broke something inside me, and I cried. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel so completely alone. Sarah gave me an idea that would change everything. "Why don't you start working from home?" she suggested. At first, I brushed it off. Ryan didn't want me to work outside the house, and I doubted I could manage it. but the idea stayed with me. Maybe I could do something small, something just for myself. That's when I started baking. I decided to try selling cakes. At first, it was daunting. I was afraid no one would buy them, afraid I'd fail. But I worked hard. I experimented with recipes, stayed up late perfecting each one, and soon, word spread. My cakes were a hit, and people started placing orders. For the first time in years, I felt a flicker of pride. Then one evening, Ryan came home angry. He saw the baking supplies scattered around the kitchen and shouted, "Why are you baking? You don't need to work." His voice echoed through the house, but something inside me had shifted. I stood tall and said, "I need to do this, for me and for the kids. I won't stop." He looked stunned. For a moment, he was silent, and I saw the disbelief in his eyes. I was scared, but I also felt a newfound strength. Life didn't magically get better. Ryan still gets angry, but I've started setting boundaries. I told him, "I won't let you hurt me anymore. If you ever hit me again, I will leave." He didn't believe me at first, but I meant every word. For the first time, I knew I had to protect myself and my children, no matter what. Sarah became my anchor. She introduced me to her friends, women who were kind, supportive, and understanding. They reminded me of the person I used to be before life wore me down. Slowly, I started reclaiming myself. I cut my hair short, something I'd always loved but stopped doing. I began wearing colorful clothes again, adding a little brightness to my days. One afternoon, Lily looked at me with her big, curious eyes and said, "Mom, you look so happy." Her words touched me deeply, and I smiled, realizing she saw the changes in me. I've started thinking about what I truly want from life. I want a safe, happy home for my children, where they can grow up surrounded by love and laughter. I want to feel free, unburdened by fear or shame. I'm not sure if Ryan will ever change, but I know I have. I'm not the same scared girl who used to shrink away. I am stronger now. Every day, I remind myself that one day, I will find peace. I don't know when or how, but I believe it's out there, waiting for me. If you're reading my story, I want you to know this. You are stronger than you think. Even in the darkest times, there is a spark of hope. You can survive, rebuild, and find joy again. Don't give up on yourself. Thank you for taking the time to read my story. If it touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and share. Let's spread hope to others who might need it.